The great Kim Corral is on her way. She has got, you could fill a short bus, okay? A short bus with people she's gotten out of prison and dug up all this evidence, and her colleagues are here. So when Kim is here, okay, we will let her. You want to come up, Kim, or do you want to, how much time do you have?
Sure.
Well, let me just introduce the great Kim Corral as our keynote speaker for Wrongful Conviction Day. So let's have a big round of applause for Kim and her colleagues who tirelessly work for justice. Kim is a terrific and brilliant attorney, and she's my friend, and she's just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside, and I'm delighted that you can hear from our great attorney, Kim Corral.
If holding the mic works better, Kim, you can take it off.
What?
If holding it is better than it being on that, you can take it off.
Is this better?
Yes.
So I wish I could think of new and inventive things to say about wrongful conviction each year, but we're fighting the same fight year after year. And what we've been focused on is getting hearings. As many of you know, we spend, and many of you have families and loved ones who are in this fight with us, who are clients of our firm, and so you know exactly what it takes and how much we're up against. And this year, we're proud to say the work of this organization has been effective because we've had more hearings and wrongful convictions this year than any year in the history of our firm. And more to come, that's right. And I want to emphasize the importance of hearings. We've watched for decades courts keep clients incarcerated, valuing finality over justice, finality over fairness, and finality over accuracy. We spent years back and forth to the Court of Appeals just asking for a hearing that would have taken one afternoon if it was granted to begin with. We have clients who've had evidence of their innocence for decades, and we can't get a forum or a platform to present it. And what we've seen, one example, Ashanti and Willie Smith. Willie, who's right up there right now, waiting for his day in court. Both of their courts, same case, different courts, both of their courts denied them out of hand. We went to the Court of Appeals and the Court of Appeals sent it back and said they're entitled to a hearing. And two separate courts, when presented the exact same information that was in an affidavit, when that was presented in the hearing, when we got the hearing that every client should be entitled to, both courts ruled they were entitled to further relief. And so it is so important that we keep showing up, we keep demanding accountability, we keep asking and pushing and begging if we have to give our clients access to the courts to present their stories and present their evidence. We recently had the prosecutors complain that they needed 90 more days to investigate when the only evidence against our client was a witness who had recanted. And we had to remind them, you only spent 12 days investigating before you indicted these men. The truth is, there is no amount of work they won't do to sustain a wrongful conviction. There is no amount of work they won't do to maintain a wrongful conviction. And that means we have to work harder and harder all of the time to demand justice for our clients. Last year in Pickaway County, Gabby Clopas, the other attorney from our firm, spent days going through every single file in Pickaway County's criminal clerk's office, file by file, to do a study about racial injustice in sentencing. And that study earned us a hearing for a client. And for the first time in the history of Ohio or any county that we found, she's been able to statistically analyze in a community that had one judge and one prosecutor what we've known all along, that racial injustice is the bedrock of wrongful convictions, it's the bedrock of excessive sentencing, and now we've got the numbers to prove it. And so the work we're doing is essential, it's never ending, but we can't do it without your support. And folks, you showing up year after year has made meaningful impact for so many of our clients. Like I said, we've had more hearings this year than any year, and I'm most honored to say we've had 2 clients released already in 2025, and one of them is here with us today. He's going to be speaking next. And I want to talk for a minute about Dave Smith's case. In Dave Smith's case, they had a woman who was attacked. She didn't know anything about what happened to her that day. She woke up from a coma and said, "Who did this to me? I don't remember that day." And a police officer showed up and said, "This is the man who did this to you," holding a picture of our client. He's a terrible person. He said awful things about you. He wants you dead. Literally just making up information. And she said, why would he have done that to me? Even when told by police, hell-bent on steering an investigation to convict anybody just so they could close the case, she still did not identify him. It took 8 years of litigation all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and we got him a new trial. And the ruling from the courts, from the 6th District, was that in his new trial they could not present that same evidence. Because after they showed her that photo, for 6 more months, she was adamant he was not the accuser. But when her criminal cases were dropped to probation, she suddenly dreamt that David Smith had maced her. And by the time she got to trial, she testified with 100% certainty that he was the person who attacked her. When the 6th Circuit awarded him a retrial on this fundamental miscarriage of justice, the order was to the state court that they could not use that identification again. When we retried his case in February, not only did they double down on that constitutional violation, but on others. And the 6th Circuit granted David a habeas corpus, and he's been out since what, July 3rd? One of the best Independence Days you can imagine. I know his case is hard to talk about. We all know the trauma of wrongful conviction, and so I'm so excited and proud of him that he's going to step up and share a bit of his story with you folks. David, come on up.